Hi guys, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Nuggets News. In tonight's video, I just want to discuss whether it's worth trading these wild swings we see in different cryptos, and I'm going to use Neo as the example, as that's one that's had some big price rises and some wild swings lately. So to start off with, I just want to thank everyone that's sent me small donations since I put out that Neo video on the 21st of July. I think it's up over 500% since then. So if you have sent me some AND shares or Neo, please comment below and so I can reach out and thank you personally for any donation for that matter. So over the past few days, we've had the rebranding and now the new wallet and a bit of hype come out, and I want to talk about whether it's worth just buying and holding or trying to sell the top of these spikes and buy back in at a lower level. So what we're looking at the moment is a 15-minute chart of Neo priced in US dollars, and I know a lot of you guys are talking about the Neo price in Bitcoin or in Sats, Satoshis. So I tend to prefer using US dollars because that is what is representative of the market cap growing. So the money flowing into Neo, whereas it takes out the fluctuations we're getting in the Bitcoin price. So use whatever works for you. Both still obey technical analysis to some degree, and I'll touch on both, but I prefer to use US dollars whenever I'm trading different coins and doing my technical analysis. So I've been getting a lot of messages from people, and I'll just take it back to a 4-hour chart there for Neo. So big run up. Okay, I get messages from people saying, where's the top going to be? And then when it starts to pull back, I get messages saying, where's the bottom going to be? And I've spoken about before how it's literally impossible for everyone to pick the top and for everyone to pick the bottom, because that little wick of that candle where the price trades at for a split second might only be one or two Neo changing hands. So it's impossible for everyone that day to buy back in at that price, or everyone that day to sell at that high price. So whenever we get within 10 or 20% of the top or the bottom, we should all be reasonably happy, and that's what we're looking to do and to add to our stack and add to our core portfolio of long-term holdings. So for me, I've got majority of my Neo in my core portfolio, okay? I don't use them to muck around and trade with. I'm only trading to try and build my stash and add to my core portfolio, and that goes for whenever I'm trading any coin. So let's go over to the chart of Neo priced in Bitcoin, as this has got a longer history of data before the rebranding. So what I'm looking at whenever these things play out, okay, I'm looking at how far the price has run previously. So we have a decent sized move here, and I'm looking at that as a possibility for the future. So that move, whether it be we're talking about it in terms of dollars or percentage gains or whatever, even without doing any technical analysis, if we're just looking at a long-term chart and we're trading this market yesterday, we can say, just by looking at this with the naked eye, it would not be unreasonable to have a similar extension move up to around this mark, okay? Because I know a lot of people that have bought over the last few weeks, and I think it was the 21st of July when I did my video recommending it, but a lot of people buy and it starts to go up in price, and they get that euphoria and they see the profit in their account and they sell, and then they go, oh, I'll buy back in on a dip, and maybe this is the dip they're looking for and they don't quite get it, and then we have more good news or another fundamental changes the longer term perspective. So it's one thing to trade, and technical analysis is only a guide. By no means is it the be all and end all, but sometimes if you miss the boat and miss buying back in, and then it ends up up here, you're kicking yourself, and you try to outsmart the market. And I really want you to just be aware that until you've done this for at least a few months, or probably it takes at least a year to really master, I believe majority of you are better off holding, because I feel for those people that did the research and maybe bought here and then sold at the wrong time again, or bought here and then sold here, and they've missed out on the gains when they've done the research to buy a good quality coin with long-term fundamentals, and they're getting fixated on maximizing their returns from the day to day or even hour to hour price movements. So let's just zoom in here on exactly what I would be thinking and how I'm playing this. So this first fib retracement goes back to when we had the rebranding and the Neo data starts here, and then it goes to the top. So once we're sure the top is in, I'm starting to look at these levels here and looking for any sign that they're going to stay above here is, again, bullish for the long term, but this is where I'd just be setting my orders and being patient and hoping that it comes down and I get filled. And even if it keeps going lower, again, I'm not fussed because it doesn't mean that everybody can't buy in here, as I just said. So if we've sold somewhere near the top, we've bought back in somewhere near here, we've done well and added to our portfolio. So let's zoom in and go over a bit more detail on how I'm going to pick the top, or if I have sold near the top, how I'm going to pick a place that I'm happy to get back in. So when things start to heat up and when markets start to go up in straight lines, we have to be aware that the current trajectory is not sustainable. So whenever I see something start to move up in almost a straight line, again, before we've even got to this point, I've sort of said to myself, right, Neo's had plenty of $10 moves in the past. Once we break out from this new high, it's not unreasonable to expect a $10 move. I think more people know about it than did back here, so maybe it's reasonable to expect more than a $10 move. Okay, so I've got some ballpark figures that I'm looking at, and then once I've formed my opinion that we're going to get at least to $30, if everything goes well, I'm watching all these indicators down here really closely. So the one I probably put the most weight in is the RSI. So once this gets anything over this shaded area represents getting overbought in a historical perspective, and the RSI changes for whatever chart you're looking at. So if we're looking at a really short-term view, the RSI here on the 15-minute got extremely overbought, okay, more than it had for days. If we zoom out and out and out, and each time it gets extremely overbought, it at least needs to take a little breather, and it does. It takes these little breathers just to get its momentum back before it has another leg up. So that's sort of what I'm looking for. And even the 5-minute chart, again, if we zoom into another level and we're sitting in front of the computer, and that's another reason why this is almost impossible to do if you're not sitting in front of the computer 24/7. You can't pick the top and bottom. So if I am sitting in front of the computer and I'm trading this, I want to let you guys know what I'm looking for. So again, when the RSI gets up in the 80s, okay, or rarely gets into the high 90s, and if it does, then it's definitely time to sell, basically. So look at the RSI. It was in the high 80s, and it's overheated. It needs to cool off. The stochastics is near the top of the range, okay, in overbought territory. The MACD, the moving averages are diverging, so the faster moving average is getting further and further away from the slower moving average. So this gap is accelerating, which is represented by these bars here. So all these signals are telling me that it needs to take a breather at least in the next 5 minutes or 15-minute time frame. Or if we zoom out to a 4-hour chart again, these indicators give you an idea of what time frame you're thinking about. So in terms of a 4-hour time frame, again, it needed to take a bit of a breather and cool down at least for a few hours, even if it's only one bar, before it picks up again. And we don't know if it's going to get back down into this shaded area and really cool off, but on this occasion it didn't before it started to turn back up. But we can zoom into those tighter time frames to get an idea that it is turning up. So on this tighter time frame, we think of it as a magnifying glass. We're looking more closely at the action that's happening in the market. So it's turned down, it's gone into the shade area, it's had a breather, but now it's starting to turn up. And once you see these moving averages start to turn up again, the stochastics are starting to turn up again, RSI is turning up. It's got down to a healthy fib retracement level from where it broke out, okay, to the top. I've made this fib retracement, and it's got down to a healthy level that I would have a buy order set at. So whether you got filled here at the 38.2% or here at the 50% retracement from the breakout, you've done better than doing nothing. And never get greedy about picking the bottom. And even if you bought here, okay, you're still adding more coins to your core portfolio than if you had have sat on the sidelines and done nothing. But that is if you've successfully sold that top. So if you panic and then you sell here and then you're waiting to buy back in at a lower level and it never comes, it just gives more credence to that theory of, if you're not good at this, you don't yet have your head around it, you're just getting into trading and buying, don't be afraid to hold. And if you bought NEO any time in the last month, okay, you're sitting on hundreds of % profit, don't get greedy, okay? You should have bought this because you're taking a longer term time frame. The fact that you're up hundreds of % in a few weeks or a few days is a bonus. So there's a saying that bulls make money, bears make money, and pigs get slaughtered. So we're all making money at the moment. Let's not get greedy. Let's be sensible with our trading. I hope this gives you an insight into what I'm looking at, and whether or not you think that trying to sell tops and bottoms is an appropriate method for your level currently in the crypto world. And always take a long-term view, okay? And for those that want more information, I do run my VIP crypto school for paid members. I'll be trying to put out more videos about this sort of stuff if you guys find this helpful. And as always, let me know in the comments below what topics you want covered next if you like this video. Thanks for tuning in. Like, subscribe, and share this video around, and I'll talk to you guys again soon.